Welcome to the tutorial on mastering the artistic media tool in CorelDRAW. In your toolbox bar, this icon is for the artistic media tool. The artistic media offers you 5 tools to bring your creative ideas to realization. Click on this icon for artistic media. You will see some changes up in the properties bar, and you will see the icons of the 5 tools that are part of the artistic media group. This first icon is the preset tool. Following that is the icon for the brush tool. Next is the icon for the sprayer tool. The fourth icon is for the calligraphic tool. And the last icon is for the pressure tool. The pressure tool is also known as the expression tool. We will discuss the pressure or expression tool separately as part of our tutorial on working with a stylus. So, it will not be covered in this tutorial. Here, we will learn about the first 4, that is, preset, brush, sprayer, and calligraphic tools. Click on this icon for preset. To the right of this 5-icon group, you will see the options in the properties bar change to reflect your selection of the preset tool. The first option is to choose the style of your preset stroke. Click on this little black triangle to open the drop-down menu, and you will see a wide variety of strokes available to you. Next is the freehand smoothness slider to manage the smoothness of the stroke you draw. If you recall, we covered the smoothness slider in the tutorial, mastering the freehand tool in CorelDRAW. The slider ranges from 0 smoothness to the maximum of 100. Then we have the option to choose the stroke width. The stroke width ranges from a minimum of 0.03 inches to a maximum of 10 inches. The stroke width can be increased by clicking on the upward pointing black triangle. And clicking the black triangle pointing down will reduce the stroke width. Or, you can simply click in the stroke field and type the value you would like. Click on this black triangle for the preset stroke drop-down menu. Choose a stroke that you would like to draw. To draw freehand, left-click and hold the mouse button and drag the mouse to draw a straight line. Release the mouse button when you get to the end point. If you wish to draw an arc or a wave, then left-click and hold mouse button. Drag the mouse to draw an arc or a wave. Release the mouse button once you get to the end point. You also have the option to draw your line object using one of the drawing tools and then applying a preset stroke to it. I am going to use the pen tool and draw a straight line. Left-click and release the mouse button and drag the mouse to the end point. Then double-click to complete the line and disengage the cursor from the canvas. Now, click on the icon for artistic media in the toolbox bar to make it active. From the properties bar, click on the black triangle to open the drop-down menu. Scroll and select a stroke by clicking on it. Your newly created line now has the stroke from the artistic media applied to it. If, after applying the stroke, you wish to change it to a different stroke, click and select the line using the preset tool. Click on the black triangle to open the drop-down menu. Scroll and select a different stroke by clicking on it. You can also change the stroke width of this line. With the line selected and the artistic media active, you can go and change the stroke width from the properties bar. I am going to type in 0.6 inches as the new stroke width and press Tab or Enter on the keyboard to accept the change. Similarly, you can draw an arc using the 3-point tool. Then apply a stroke of your choice to it. You can change a bunch of its properties from the Object Properties Docker. You can change the color fill and the fountain fill. You can even apply a vector pattern fill, a bitmap pattern fill, or a two-color pattern fill. We will learn all about object properties in the upcoming tutorial on object properties in CorelDRAW. This holds true for any object drawn using any of the line drawing tools, as well as most objects you will create. You can successfully apply this to any text that you add, provided you complete one step before being able to do so. We will discuss all this in detail in the upcoming tutorial on text in CorelDRAW. Let us have a look at the brush tool. With the artistic media icon active, click on this icon for the brush tool up in the properties bar. You will see a bunch of properties options appear in the properties bar that are related to the brush tool. First, we have the category field. Click on this small black triangle to open the drop-down menu. This shows you all the categories available. Yours probably says artistic in that field, as it does for me. The field to its right displays the brush strokes available to you under the category of artistic. Within each category, you will have many options for brush strokes available to you. Click on this black triangle to open the drop-down menu and see all the stroke options available to you under that category. Click on one of the stroke options to select it. Then left-click and hold the mouse button and drag the mouse to draw a line, straight or curved, your choice. Release the mouse button at the intended end point. If, after having drawn the line, you wish to change the stroke, simply select it with the brush tool and go up to the stroke field. Click on a stroke from the drop-down menu to change the stroke. Take some time to try out a few other stroke options that are available. Similarly, click on the black triangle in the category field to open the drop-down menu. Listed here, you will see a number of categories that are available to you. I am going to choose symbol from this list. You can follow along or pick a category of your own choice. Click on the black arrow to open the stroke options available under this category. I am going to pick this stroke that looks like a tree. Over in the stroke width field, I am going to change the value to 3 inches. Left-click and hold the mouse button and drag the mouse downwards. Release the button at the intended end point. This may look like the silhouette of a tree, but you can have an amazing tree by the time you finish changing various properties for it. We will be covering object properties in a separate tutorial. Scroll down these stroke options and click on another option. Again, left-click and hold, drag the mouse down, and release at the end point to complete your new line. To show you another way, draw a straight line. I am using the pen tool. Since we have the stroke width set at 3 inches, I will draw a straight line that is approximately 3 inches long. Switch back to the Artistic Media tool. Scroll down the Stroke Options field and click on this blue orb. You will notice that your thin straight line is now shaped into a beautiful orb-shaped object. Let us draw a curved line using the 3-point curve object tool. Switch to the Artistic Media tool and from the Stroke options, click to select the blue arrow. Let us now have a look at the Sprayer tool in the Artistic Media group. Click on this icon to make the Sprayer tool active. From the Category field, select Brush Strokes if it is not already selected. Then from the strokes field, I am choosing the stroke that looks like a bunch of twirled multicolored birds. Left-click and hold, and drag the mouse to draw a line. Release the mouse button when you get to the intended endpoint. Left-click on a blank spot on the canvas to deselect the line. The next field we will talk about is the sequence in which each component appears on your line. You can set the objects to appear on a line sequentially, as arranged in the playlist, or by object direction, or you can have them appear in a random pattern. Default setting is sequentially. That was the sequence in the line that we just drew. Click on this black arrow to open the drop-down menu. Click and select randomly. Draw another line. And the objects appear on the line in a random fashion. Once again, click on this black arrow to open the drop-down menu. Click and select by direction. Draw another line. And you will notice that only one object of this stroke is printed repeatedly through this line. Let us switch the sequence back to sequentially. This icon in the Properties bar, showing a spray can next to a small gear, is for the spray list options. Click on it to open the playlist window. The left side of this window shows all the objects that are part of this spray list. And on the right, you will see all the objects that are selected from the spray list to be part of the playlist and the sequence they will appear in on a line. To add an object to the playlist, select an object from the spray list, and from the middle section, click on this button that reads, Add. Similarly, to remove an object from the playlist, click and select the object in the playlist, and click on this button that reads, Remove. If you wish to change the sequence of the objects that will appear in a line, you can select an object from the playlist, and from the middle section of this window, click on the upward pointing double black triangle to move the object up, and the downward pointing double black triangle to move the object down. The button to the right of the downward pointing double black triangle is to flip the playlist. Currently, your playlist most likely shows starting with image 1 and ending with image 7. Click on this button to flip the list around. You can custom create your own playlist. Click on this button that reads, Clear, to remove all the objects in the playlist. After clearing the playlist of all existing objects, I will click and select image 2 from the spray list and click Add a couple of times. Then, I'll click and select image 7 and click Add 3 times. Then select image 5 and click Add once. Click OK to accept the changes. Now when I draw a line, you will notice that the sequence and repetition of each object on the line is exactly as we customized our playlist. To revert back to the original objects and restore their sequence in this stroke, click on the icon for spray list options. From the middle section of the window that opens, click on Clear to remove all existing objects from the playlist. Now click on the button that reads, Add All, to add all the objects in the spray list to the playlist. Click OK to exit. This section here has two fields. The top field lets us control the number of objects per dab. And the one below allows us to adjust the spacing between each dab. So far, the lines we have drawn had one object per dab, and the centers of the objects on each dab were spaced at one object width. Let us first change the spacing to 2 and draw a line. As you will notice that the gap between the dabs has greatly increased. Now let us change the number of objects per dab to 3. We will leave the spacing at 2 and draw another line. This time, if you look closely at the line, you will see that each dab has 3 objects. To confirm this, we can break apart this line and separate each object. To do that, with the Pick tool, click on the line you want to break apart. Now right-click on the line. This will open a pop-up menu for you. From this menu, click on Break Artistic Media Group Apart. Or press Ctrl-K, Command-K on the Mac to get the same result. Now, you will see a thin solid line. Left-click and hold on the line and drag it away from the group. You can go ahead and delete this line. Once again, left-click on the line to select it and then right-click on it. From the pop-up menu, click on Ungroup Objects to separate each object from each dab on the line. You can also press the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-U, Command-U on the Mac to ungroup these objects. Now, left-click on any dab on this line and drag the top object away. There will be 2 more objects underneath. Grab the next object and drag that away as well, leaving one last object that was a part of that dab. Similarly, you can pull each of the other objects on this line and move them around. You can place them anywhere you choose on the canvas. Let us reset the objects per dab back to 1. You can change the size of the sprayed objects on a line. The top field is for the size of the first object on the line, and the bottom field is for the size of each subsequent object on the line. By default, this lock icon is active, meaning if you change the size value in the top field, the lower field will automatically adjust proportionately. Let us leave the lock active and change the size to 200% and draw another line. You will notice that all the objects on this line are twice the size of the objects on the previous lines. Now, click on the lock and unlock the size fields so that the size of each object on the line can be different. For the sake of this demo, we will leave the size at 200% for size of the first object on the line and change the size of each subsequent object on the line to 75%. This means that the second object on the line will be 75% in size compared to the size of the first object, and the third object will be 75% in size compared to the size of the second object, and so on. Now draw a line, and you will see that each subsequent object on the line is 75% in size of the preceding object. Let us reset these 2 values back to the default values. This icon allows you to rotate the objects. You can change the rotation angle in relation to the page or in relation to the path of the line you draw. Now, select a different stroke from the spray list. Up in the image spacing field, change the value to 2. And draw a line. This will be our reference point for comparison. Click on a blank spot on the canvas to make certain that this line has been deselected. This icon in the properties bar is to alter the rotation angle of the objects in a spray list. Click on this black arrow in the bottom right corner of the icon to open the menu window. Here, change the angle of rotation to 60 degrees. The option to rotate objects relative to the page should already be selected. If not, click on the radio dial next to it to select it. Press Enter to accept the changes. Draw a line. And you will notice that the objects on this line are rotated by 60 degrees. Click on a blank spot on the canvas to deselect the line. Now, go back up to the Properties bar and click on the little triangle to open the Object Rotation pop-up menu. This time, place a check mark next to Increment. And in the Increment field, type in 30 degrees. Press Enter to accept the change and close this window. Now draw another line, and you will notice that every object on the line has 30 degrees of more rotation than the preceding object. Of course, the same would apply for objects that were drawn with rules applied relative to the path of the line you draw, instead of relative to the page. The only differentiation would be that the rotations would be relative to the line path instead of the page. There are a bunch of categories under the Spray tool. And each category has a large number of spray options to meet your requirements. The final tool that we will discuss in this tutorial is the Calligraphy tool. Click on this icon for the Calligraphy tool up in the Properties bar to make it active. In terms of settings and customization, this tool is really quite simple. To start with, you have the freehand smoothness slider. The next field allows you to alter the stroke width. And the one after is to adjust the calligraphic angle. We will change the stroke width to 0.5 inches and the calligraphic angle to 30 degrees. Left-click and hold the mouse button and drag to draw a wave. Release the mouse button when you get to the end point. Notice the changes in the stroke width as the line moves through the various angles. It becomes quite thin when it is running along a 30-degree angle. We will leave the stroke width unchanged at 0.5 inches, but change the calligraphic angle to 75 degrees. Draw a similar line by left-clicking and holding the mouse button. Drag to draw a wave. Release the mouse button when you get to the end point. Notice that the changes in the stroke width along this line are not as varied as our previous line. We will draw one more line. This time we will change the stroke width to 0.3 inches and the calligraphic angle to 90 degrees. Left-click and hold the mouse button and drag to draw a curved line. Release the mouse button when you get to the end point. Notice the difference in the stroke width as the line moves through the various angles. Notice that it becomes quite thin when it is running along a 90-degree angle. We will have a quick look at how strokes drawn at varied calligraphic angles will appear on the page. Here, in the 4 quadrants on the page, I have lines drawn in different directions. All of them currently have a stroke width of 0.3 inches and their calligraphic angle is 30 degrees. We will not alter anything with the lines in the top left quadrant, so we can use it as a reference point. You can change the properties attributes of a group by selecting the entire group. With the Pick tool, I'll marquee all the lines in the bottom left quadrant to select them. Switch to the Artistic Media tool, and up in the Properties bar, I'll place my cursor in the calligraphic angle field and type in 330 degrees. That is the same as -30 degrees. Press Enter. Notice the change due to the changes we made to the calligraphic angle. Now, I'll use the Pick tool and marquee all the lines in the top right quadrant to select them. Switch back to the Artistic Media tool, and up in the Properties bar, I'll place my cursor in the calligraphic angle field and type in 60 degrees. Press Enter. We now move to the bottom right quadrant and marquee and select all the lines in this quadrant. Up in the Properties bar, I'll place my cursor in the calligraphic angle field and type in 300 degrees. That is the same as -60 degrees. Press Enter. You can now compare all these lines drawn in different directions with different calligraphic angles and appreciate the creative possibilities at your disposal. That brings us to the end of this tutorial on mastering the artistic media in CorelDRAW. Please take your time exploring these tools, as there is a lot to uncover and get your creative juices flowing. Try out different settings and get familiar with all the features and capabilities of these tools. Next, we will start by learning about the rectangle and three-point rectangle tools. To learn about the rectangle and three-point rectangle tools, please access the Mastering the Rectangle and Three-Point Rectangle Tools in CorelDRAW tutorial, or click on the link provided below in the description of this video. To access the previously published tutorials, please click on the links provided below for those tutorials in the description of this video.